So my name is Catherine Edmonds and I'm an ED&I consultant. I have worked in this realm for the past 7 years now. Different capacities, different levels. So I've worked within the fitness sector and physical activity on disability inclusion specifically. I've worked on a European scale with regards to inclusion, and I've also worked in professional football as well, working with the 72 member clubs of the English Football League. So I'd like to think that I've got half a clue of what I'm talking about by now, but I'll let you be the judge of that anyway. So what I want to do today is try and demonstrate to how inclusion fits within your workspace, why it's important to embed inclusion, to have a strategy around inclusion within your business strategy, so to speak, okay? So what will happen is I'll do a quick overview of what ED&I is, and then I'll look to use examples, etc., to show how it fits into your day-to-day, if you like. Okay, so the first one, you've probably heard of ED&I, D&I, every other one you can think of, DEIB. Basically, it's all the same thing, but people just like to use different wordings towards it. So if you see any of these acronyms on LinkedIn, on Facebook, they basically talk about the same thing. It's just different phrases and different acronyms that people like to use on there. So hands up, who's seen any of these before? Yep. Which one's been the most popular one that you've seen? The top one? Yep. And then it's so that gets is your usual one. That's quite a popular one. It's quite an American version of the same thing. But I do like the creativity of the other ones, actually. So this Jedi one, people can get onto the back of that, can't they, with a Jedi? So basically, you've got the equity, diversity, inclusion, and by amalgamating these three things together, you then get justice, or you get belonging. So it's just to sort of clarify, if anyone comes up to you and starts spouting, then you've got an idea of what they're talking about. Okay, so as I've just said before, you've got ED&I, you've got equity, then you've got diversity, and you've got inclusion. Just want to break them down a second so we can have a little bit more sort of detail of what are these. So diversity. Diversity is the fact. Take a look around our population of the UK, in your local towns, your villages, or your cities. We are diverse. And we're diverse to look at, but we're also diverse in the life experiences that we bring, the experiences that we've had, the jobs that we've had, the people that influence us, our friends, our family members. So that is a fact. We cannot change diversity. So what I want to do, let me just do that quickly. What I want to do is just show you how complex diversity can be. So a lot of people will have a look around this room now and go, well, we're not very diverse. We've got a lot of white faces here. Yes, true, but we've also got male and females in here. We also come from different parts of the country. We also come from different socioeconomic backgrounds, and so on and so on. So then you start, it's like an onion almost. You start peeling back those layers and you see actually diversity is more than skin deep, so to speak. So found this advert. It's actually a Danish train advert, believe it or not, a couple of years ago now, so it's an old one. But ultimately, I thought that this video summed diversity up really, really well. So it's just a quick 3-minute video. Please let me know what you think.
It's easy to put people in boxes. There's us, and there's them. The high earners, and those just getting by. Those we trust, and those we try to avoid. There's the new Danes, and those who've always been here. The people from the countryside, and those who've never seen a cow. The religious, and the self-confident. There are those we share something with, and those we don't share anything with.
Velkommen. Jeg kommer til at stille jer nogle spørgsmål i dag. Nogle af dem kan godt være lidt personlige, men jeg håber, I vil svare ærligt på
had sex this past week. We who are broken-hearted. We who are madly in love. We who feel lonely. We who are bisexual. And we who acknowledge the courage of others. We who have found the meaning of life. And we who have saved lives. And then there's all of us who just love Denmark. So maybe there's more that brings us together than we think. TV2 Denmark. All that we share.
I've got no shame on admitting I watched that and cried. It's quite a powerful advert, I think, especially for a train company, let's face it. But I think it very much encapsulates what I'm trying to say. Diversity is more than skin deep. And although we look at someone and we think absolutely nothing in common, once we start peeling back those onion layers, there's probably more than we realise that we have in common. So that's the first thing. Diversity is a fact. It's just been proven on the telly. Next one, equity or equality is the act. So that's what we do in order to bring people together. So I just want to clarify on this one, equality and equity. We have a lot of terminology. Some people you'll say use equality, some equity. What's the difference? We're not talking about finance equity, by the way, just in case anyone was wondering. I'm not going to make you $1 million. So basically, this illustration should hopefully be able to offer you a bit of a visual. So equality is about treating everyone exactly the same, giving them exactly the same tools that that you've got. However, the problem with that is we're all different. We all actually need different tools and we all actually need different amounts of help. So if we go solely off the basis of equality, as you can see, there's the same tools, but still the outcome is not the same on there. So instead of equality, so we'd use equality in front of around the law, so for example, so you have an equal right to a case, you have an equal right to a lawyer. That is an equal right regardless of who you are, how many times you've stepped in front of a judge, if you've never been in front of one before. That is equality. What we want to get to is not equality, but actually equity, because this is what works. This is where the progression of ED&I comes in. So as you can see, equity is about giving people different tools to achieve the same outcome. So again, smaller person can now reach the apple, if you like, on there. So there's the difference between them. So equity is the act, and then inclusion is the outcome. So by acknowledging that diversity exists, by approaching the diversity in a more equitable manner rather than an equality manner, we should get more of the outcome, which is inclusion. What I would say is it does need to be done organically and not tokenistic. So it's not about, there's no quick fix with this. This is a long-term project. This is what we would want you to do, and it'll go on for years in that sense. But ultimately, that's what the penultimate aim is to get that inclusion, to get that belonging, and to get that authentic selves coming out and being comfortable with that. So why choose inclusion? Why embark on this journey? Inclusion for the win, 100%. Reasons behind it. Reputation, for example. If you look at Gen Z, the new generation coming into the workplace, they are very moral based. They want to know what your sustainability plans are. They want to know that you're inclusive. They will look at your website. They will look at your social media output. So if you want to attract your talent, then you need to make sure that you're singing on the same hymn sheet in that sense. You've got the likes of the legal, the moral, and the business argument on there. Morally, being inclusive is the right thing to do. just being a human being and seeing everyone else as a human being and treating them with the same respect and dignity. It's just as simple as that. Then you've got the legal aspect of that. So then we're looking at the Equality Act 2010, we're looking at the Human Rights Act in 1998, I want to say, and we're also looking at the health and safety, which will look at the mental health in the workplace. It's part of the HSC, that mental health. It's about the stress factors that come in with that. So there's 3 different types of legislation that encompasses what we're talking about today, inclusion. So you've got a legal obligation to adhere to these. What's the outcome if you don't adhere to these and someone then has a discrimination claim against you? First of all, there's no higher end for that discriminatory claim. So ultimately, from an independent gym perspective, it could put you out of business at the end of it. But also it could provide reputational damage. Don't want to be a part of them. They're not welcome into such and such a community. So, you know, you can lose members, you can lose reputation, you can lose your community hub in that sense. So it's important to be legally required on there. Inclusion also offers great CPD to your staff. So obviously we've got the natural fitness qualifications we would use, etc. But also it's about being more inclusive. So how to train disabled clients. It's about learning more about what that disability is and how to go about it. That's an opportunity. It's how to understand LGBT community needs a little bit more. It's about understanding a safe and comfortable environment for women to work out. There's been stats that have been bandied around over the last year or so that UK Active have seen work that they've done in this area. Women don't necessarily always feel safe exercising, so how are you going to help that happen, for example? With the CPD then comes staff loyalty and also comes staff motivation. If they feel that they're being progressed and they're being developed, they're going to want to stay a lot longer than that. But also, if this is high on their agenda, and it is creeping up, by the way, then it's that sense of belonging, it's that sense of purpose. So you'll find that they want to stay longer, they want to be part of that team, they feel they belong to that team and they're making that difference on there. Part of the health solution, I'll go into that one in more detail in a second. It's a big conversation piece for the sector right now. How can we incorporate inclusion to help this health solution? And then you've got the retention aids. So how are you making that customer or that member feel that they belong to that community? Are they being their authentic self? Are they able to come and be them, not a hidden version or a covered up version of them? If so, they're more likely to stay longer because you've built that community, they feel comfortable in that community, so they're probably more likely to stay. So going back to that health solution bit, exceptionally complex subject matter. I haven't got all the answers, and I am embarking on a tiny, squinty little bit of the bigger conversations that are happening. So what I wanted to do is just use aging as an example, but there's many more examples that I can use. I just haven't got all day to present to you. So we are an aging population. The average lifespan is just over 81 years. But with getting older, the more likely is that you will develop a disability of some nature. That might be age, it's generally mobility issues, but it could be any disability on there. So why would you exercise? Why would you want to come and exercise? Well, it's going for health, so obviously live longer, but it's also that quality of life aspect, isn't it? So if if you're very sedentary because of your mobility issues, all that's going to happen, as you all know from being fitness professionals, it's only going to deteriorate, where we can either look to maintain or slightly improve someone's quality of life through exercise. So I've just jumped a few stats on this. This is from the census 2021. As you can see, talking about the active aging, 42% of the population has a disability. It's nearly it's nearly half. That's quite a big number there. So this is where you guys would come in. This is where you could embrace the ageing population. Looking at Active Lives adult survey from Sport England, the disability and long-term health conditions. People who have a disability or a long-term health condition are less likely to do exercise. Only 45% of those individuals are going to do exercise. So again, there's the business case. There is currently 22 million people that have a disability in the UK. Sorry, let me just, yep, no. So there's lots of, sort of opportunity out there, if you like. And then to age retention. So it's providing more than just a workout space. Not everybody goes to the gym just to get hench, just to be super slim, to be fabulous in that little black dress, whatever it might be. It's not the reason why people go. Exercise offers more than just the physical outcome. You've got the mental well-being side of that as well. It might also be the social aspect of that, loneliness, COVID, loads more people suffered from their mental health side of things. A lot of people felt isolated. Okay, can't do much about that, but now they can come out, they could be part of something, it could be a social aspect to them rather than just a physical one. They gain that sense of belonging. Again, like your staff, it's about being part of a bigger thing. And just feeling valued, if nothing else. Knowing that you like to come in and work out quietly in the corner, or I'm trying to think of more examples then, totally lost my thread. The likes of sort of have it, so period poverty is a huge thing at the moment. Something that's very, very simple is having sanitary products for women in the toilets. That would make them feel more welcome. Not having a very strict dress code, so women may be able to, and some men, it's not just women, to wear a bit more baggier clothes, or it might be religious things with the hijab and stuff like that. It's about sort of just thinking outside the box and making people feel welcome for who they actually are, not for the rules and regulations that you set. So I hear this question a lot. We are inclusive, we're a gym, we're inclusive, anyone can walk through our doors. Yeah. You're right, they honestly can. However, are you putting that equity, are you putting that action in place to allow? Because actually, we need more than just words to make this happen, to make this actually work. So, some of the questions that I'd pose to you, I found this one to be a huge one. The workout space. Have you left enough space for people to actually comfortably go through? I've been on gym floors where I've had to do that through equipment to go to the next one, and I'm a fit and able person body. If someone was on crutches, if someone was on a wheelchair, can they actually comfortably go through that area? What do you post on your social media? We have awareness days, we have a calendar. There's a huge joke, there's a day for every day of the week. Yeah, you're probably right, but we're not asking you to do something for every day of the week. Just choose a few different awareness days that are relevant to your demographic. So that will be different depending on country, county and whatever else. So it may be that you look to recognise LGBT Pride Month. It may be that you look to do something more around sort of Ramadan, and you have flexibility in maybe their membership for that time period, or even your opening hours during that time period. So after the evening prayer, they could still come and do a quick workout. So it's just about that flexibility side of things. Information and advertising. What format is that available in? A real example of good practice was it's a football club. They were looking to see what their future fans were going to be, because the fan demographic at that point in time was middle-aged white men. That was it. But once they disappear, what's the next level? What they found when they actually done some research is they had a huge Polish population right on their doorstep. So what they did is they started to engage with that community. They put some of their advertising and their match day whatever it's called, in Polish. they had a Polish speaker at the ticket desk, so it gave that accessibility element. And so lo and behold, a lot more Polish people come. There's the start of the beginning of future fans. Okay, so where to start? It's a blooming big subject matter. It's quite daunting. What the hell do we do? We want to try and start. What can we start to do? Here's a few ideas. Do your research. Do you know the demographics of your local community? You may do, because from a business perspective, you want to know what's on your doorstep, how affluent someone is, where's your money-making element of that. But do you know the demographics from an equality perspective? Do you have a huge Muslim population within your doorstep? Do you have a huge Eastern European population? Is there a lot of disabled community in there? Mental health, 1 in 4 people have a mental health condition of some form, or suffer from mental health. As I've just said, exercise can help that. Do you know who's on your doorstep? Do your research. Analyse that data. Don't just look at it from a male perspective, a female perspective, a disability perspective. How many of those females, what age group do they fit into? Do they have a disability? And soon you start finding these detailed information out about these individuals that are on your doorstep. Partnerships. If you've got a large disability community, disabled community on your doorstep, there'll be groups, there'll be places that they go to, etc. Do you have a Mind on your doorstep? Do you have a stroke association? Sorry, I was talking from someone from Colchester the other day, and they have their stroke head office in Colchester. Stroke association, learning disabilities. So have a look to see who's out there. Who can you partner with? Who specialises in these subject matter that can help educate you further? You're not expected to know everything, and you won't, but there is plenty of resources, plenty of tools, and plenty of groups will be more than happy to help you with this. Action plans. Okay, you've now identified the certain groups that you've not managed to engage with. What's your action plan? How are you going to do this? Write a 12-month plan, write a 3-year plan. How are you going to get these people engaged, how to get your membership based up? Awareness calendars and religious festivals, that's all sorts. That can go from Christianity all the way through to Sikhism and Buddhism, and Diwali, for example, is a really good one. It's really pleasant. It could be that you do an Eid celebration at the end of that. There's loads and loads of opportunities on there, as I say, but choose awareness days and religious festivals that are relevant to where you are, not just flippant ones on there. Communicate. Tell everyone what you're doing. Tell your members how great you are and how dedicated you are to ED&I. They're not going to know. Again, you can say, well, we are. Great, that's a conversation between you and I. What about the rest of your community out there? Put stuff on your LinkedIn, put stuff on your social media, hold events. That way you're getting yourself out there and what you stand for and what your intentions in this area are. And then education and awareness. Again, staff CPD, members CPD. Oh, well, why are you open then? Or, well, why are we celebrating this festival? Well, actually, X, Y, and Z. Give them a little bit of an education tool. Become more educated yourself. 9 protected characteristics. Choose one to start off with that's of interest to you. It may be women for one people. It may be religion for someone else. Just choose and run with that. Just start off small and then grow as you go on. So what's stopping you? So these are some of the reasons I've been told from many different people. Resources. We haven't got the person power to do this. As I say, through those collaborations, what you'll find is people are willing to help. If they see a willingness from you to want to learn and want to evolve, then people are more willing to you. So it's those collaboration piece. You can build resources. You can get volunteers that will be willing to help you. Making a mistake. This is probably the biggest one I hear. Do not worry about making a mistake. Okay? This is really important. People make mistakes. We make mistakes on a daily basis. This is no different. So long as you can put your hands up and you go, right, this is a learning curve for me. This is a learning curve for me. educate me, help me, then it's fine. We all make mistakes. Time. It's about finding the time. Ultimately, we can't swap that. As I say, if you get more volunteers involved and you do this as a group exercise, more people involved and you do this as a group exercise, it's less time that you as an individual are having to do it, because you can delegate different elements of it there. Lack of knowledge, as I say, work with the collaborations, too much effort. It's not too much effort. This is your business. You want your business to thrive. So make the effort to put this in. And then buy-in. This should always be led from the top. The accountability should be from the top. So if you are the top person doing this, then you should be communicating your values and reasons in why why you're doing this. It's up to you to get the buy-in of your staff and your members. And then examples of good practice from other industries. Multi-faith rooms. Football clubs have multi-faith rooms because once you're in, regulations stipulate that if you were to leave, then you wouldn't be able to come back into the stadium. One of the prayers for the Islamic faith is around the 3 o'clock mark, so they put multi-faith rooms in, so they can go, they can pray, observe their religion and still come back to their seats and watch the football. Hotels, they've got multi-rooms. You can go to a hotel in Dubai, a Muslim country, and people will say, oh, well, they can just go to the mosque, but hotels have them in there as well. Just because it's convenient, it's quick, it's easy, you don't have to find. So it might be that you can find a spare room, maybe, in your gyms, depending obviously on size, or just a private space that someone can just go, take 10, 15 minutes to observe their religion, okay? Quiet hour. Supermarkets do this. You have the likes of Sainsbury's and Tesco. They embarked on Autism Hour, in which there was no music. It was only open to autistic customers, and it just gave them the opportunity to come in. There's no reason why gyms couldn't do that as well, or just quieter sort of element on there. Drop-in sessions, loneliness cafes. Your gym, as I say, is not just about the physical side, but it's also about that mental side. It's also about that social element. So you could just have drop-in sessions in which people don't actually participate on the gym floor, but there's a group of people, they can have a conversation. Someone's just got out the house, and that might be the only time they get out the house that day. But from doing that, you're building up for those conversations for them to say to their friends and family, actually, I went to such and such a gym, I had a lovely conversation. So again, it's not that physical element, it's the social element, words of mouth from a business perspective. It's got loads of opportunities there. Ultra and business hours for religious festivals, which I've just mentioned across the Ramadan area, and summer fun children workout classes. Busy mums that are trying to fit a workout in, working, childcare, especially over the summer. I'm exactly that boat. I have got 2 young children. I like working out. What am I going to do? No one in our area does children's classes, but if there was an opportunity to do like a children's sort of summer camp class, I can go and get a quick sneaky workout in. My kids are entertained and are doing something fit and healthy, and they'll sleep that night. Win-win for everyone, I think, on that one. So what I want to do is just leave you with this quote from C.S. Lewis. Isn't it funny how day by day nothing changes, but when you look back, everything is different? So as I say, ED&I is very much for the long haul. There's no quick fix solution, and if there is, you're doing it wrong ultimately. So be patient. It will take time. It does need planning, and what you will see over a period of time is you'll look back, you'll evaluate what you've done, you'll go, wow, we've moved the goalposts, we've moved our pillars and our values, and we can now see the change and difference. Thank you very much for listening.